What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker here on Unique Access Entertainment. As always, please hit that subscribe button. It's right down there and it's free. It allows us to keep coming to y'all as often as possible with as many interviews as possible. So please hit that subscribe button, like our content, share, talk about it, be about it, each one, teach one, and we appreciate your support. And of course, if you haven't already, go get your Unique Access shirt from the good folks over at slangsmith.com. Now, today we have the honor and the privilege of being joined by DJ Too Tuff. Thank you for coming through, sir.
What's good? Again, very happy to be on here. Grateful to be on here multiple times. What's going on, sir?
Man, everything is good. And congratulations. You got the new album, Behold the Detonator, in stores worldwide right now. So everybody, after this interview, go check it out and listen to it if you haven't already. And Too Tuff, the thing is, you know, with the Behold the Detonator, Back to Rec Shop, of course, had the song on there as well, Behold the Detonator. And I always thought it was amazing because you sampled Chuck D on there, and now Behold the Detonator is an album being put out through Chuck D's label. So when you were thinking of the titles for the album, how and why did you come up with Behold the Detonator?
It jumped out at me. You know, I used a lot of stuff. We didn't title the album until after it was complete. One of the songs that appears on the album is called Enemies. And it features Chuck D, a speech that he had on YouTube that I, sampled a clip from. And I ever since Nation of Millions and, Fear of a Black Planet, how those conceptual albums had instrumentals on them in between, Chuck rhyming on the main songs. I wanted to create a whole album of those instrumentals that appeared kind of like on the Tough Crew album and on, any PE album. There was always a little break, a little beat that played for a few minutes, and you was like, oh shit, it contributed to the continuity of the album. And this one is just all of the, best of the B-sides, I guess you could say, best of the instrumentals.
The B-sides wins again.
Yeah, I love that, John.
Yes.
I was chasing Chuck D and that style. I wear Raiders gear. Chuck was always extra black. I was in an art form where I had to overcome a couple obstacles due to the fact that I was usually the only white kid in the party, and that's fine. I never experienced any kind of racist stuff against me. Hip hop was always it was unity. When we came together during the times when we used to throw dollar house parties, there was graffiti writers, there was break dancers, there was rappers, there was DJs. Everybody was a different color. Nobody was concentrating so much on any kind of racial problem. But me being named Too Tuff and the album Fear of a Black Planet and all of the threatening, the Dark Lord. I love Darth Vader, the Raiders, it just goes along with the theme. It's incredible to be tapped in with Chuck D.
Okay, fair enough. So then with Tough Crew, of course, you had so many songs that were either just strictly DJ stuff or songs where you scratched a lot or both or what have you. So from like the era of D.O.C's House and from Detonator, from Behold the Detonator up to making the album Behold the Detonator, how would you say creatively things have changed for you and how you've improved over that, decades?
Well, one thing, I got over the hump by learning how to work a digital audio workstation. It was an issue for a while, I didn't have a problem making the switch from wax to Serato because somebody stole all of my crates of records, during a situation, 18 crates gone. So I was very happy when I said Serato, so I could digitally download everything. I don't have to rebuy all of the wax. It was cool. I don't have to carry the crates. So, as hip hop evolved, so did the DJ. I went from an MPC 60 in 1992 to 94 to an MPC X now. It's a big jump. I was able to enlist the help of a few other producers who had been constantly sending me beats, or I tapped into videos with them. One was Thorough 215, Thoroughbred Bangers from Soup Kitchen with OT the Real. Another one was one of my lifelong friends, Taj Ricketts. He goes by the name of Obvious Bane. He's born and bred Philly, but he lives in Lexington, Kentucky right now. Sometimes he's mad about that. But shout out to Lexington. This one I was able to delegate authority. I didn't have to have the whole spotlight on me because the whole spotlight was already on me. I wanted to deflect some of the spotlight off of me by bringing in some music from a couple other people who were, as I said, supplying me stuff that was dope. You know, they were looking for an outlet. I had an outlet. I chose to plug them in. You know, before I only would get 8 bars, maybe 16 bars at the end. So I really had to make the most out of the opportunities on me being the DJ on a Tuff Crew album that featured 3 MCs. You know, my job was to play the background, make sure nothing went wrong, you know, keep it steady. But when my 8 bars came in there, you know, I had to light it up. I was never really given permission to speak on any interviews when I first became a member of Tuff Crew. So now I'm kind of like the big mouth dude, you know, that leads the way, so-called spearhead of the legendary Tuff Crew. But, you know, sometimes I talk myself into a corner. This one was really great because I got to learn a lot while we were doing the final mixes and the edits. I know where I wanted certain parts of the song to stop. I know where there was too many cuts, where they were overlapping over each other. Working with Thorough hand in hand, we would do 3. I would do 3 at home and then bring them 3, and we would mix and master and edit 3. And then I would go back and do 3 more. It was a period of about 5 months, 6 months. It took me to make the entire album. So it was and plus I'm clean now, you know? So it's different when you're making music out of desperation, because there's other stuff going on in your life, maybe some type of addiction and all of the tragic shit that addiction brings. You know, we can keep it hidden under the rug, but then the rug gets to be real big behind us. You know, and they're like, what's wrong? Like, you got a rug behind you that has a lot of shit under it, but the only person that sees it, you know, I don't see it. They do. So navigating through an addiction and then also trying to, you know, put yourself out into the public eye, you have to be able to maintain a certain secrecy about what you're doing when they're not looking. So fear of being found out was one of the things that I did in my step 4. I don't want to turn it into a whole recovery session, but it's a totally different perspective that I have on life, and I can only give it to others who may be receptive to it because someone gave it to me totally free. Without the recovery part, I don't even think this album would have been presented into my world. So, you know, I give everything to a vast improvement in the way that I look at the same things that I used to look at and have hate or disdain toward. Now I can look at them and learn something from them, you know? Just a different way to look at the same stuff and accept it.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on your sobriety again, because I know that's a major accomplishment, and I'm glad that that's still the case. So congratulations on that. And yeah. And with Behold the Detonator, starts off with Chromeboom. And I thought it was funny. Is that Philly Mayor Frank Rizzo that you
That's
got?
Frank Rizzo, yeah. We were in a debate, me and Mr. Snyder were in a debate, C-Dot, about putting Rizzo's face on the back, because I had his face with the Benny the Butcher Jones on his eyes, you know what I mean? Like when you're a witness for the feds or something and they cover your eyes. So, you know, we moved in a different direction. Maybe I might release something like that on a mixtape or a single or something, but the Chromeboom does feature Frank Rizzo. You know, he's one of the most arrogant, polarizing figures in Philly, probably, you know, politics history. I thought it was funny when he was, you know, at war with the reporters and stuff like that. He was getting real hype. You know, he's supposed to be the mayor, but yet he's letting his anger get the best of him. It was kind of like reminded me of myself when I let my anger get the best of me with my 7-year-old. But yeah, you know, Frank Rizzo, I knew that it would create a controversy where people would tap in and say, they would either say, what the fuck? Or, oh shit. You know, either way, you were going to get a reaction. So
yeah, either way. And also with Chromeboom, I thought it was interesting that there isn't a lot of, unlike a lot of Behold the Detonator, there's not a lot of turntable wizardry per se, if any. So, and that's the first cut. So why did you keep that off of Chromeboom?
I originally made that beat. That beat is sampled from Ocean's 13, the movie. If you watch Ocean's 13, you'll find a little clip of that beat when they're on the roof doing some sniper stuff. I originally made it with Beanie Siegel in mind. You know, I wanted to get it into Bean's hands and have him rhyme on it. I thought about putting some extra scratches over top of it, but I kind of wanted to just highlight the ridiculous aggressiveness of Frank Rizzo. in the interview. It was one of the classic interviews. We always sat back and laughed while we watched it and shit like that. And you know, Philly is in a state of upheaval right now, so maybe it's okay to add a little bit of comic relief to the situation. You know, it's as gangster as you're going to get. You know,
right.
I was just looking for explosive gangster lines throughout the whole album. You know, I think I did well.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of gangster, on One in the Chamber, you got the Ice Cube from the song America's Most Wanted from the album America's Most Wanted. And that was awesome to hear because, you know, I know from talking to you and everything and listening to your music since the 80s, but I know you have a wide range of influences and everything. But most people, you know, I think they would think the East Coast, Philly, New York DJs wouldn't necessarily be putting Ice Cube on their album. So what made America's Most Wanted work so well for the One in the Chamber and wanting to add that in there?
I always had a great affinity for the whole West Coast. I'm a big Dr. Dre fan. Above the Law, MC Ren was one of my favorite rappers of all time. You know, they were brutal street thugs, you know, and that was my aspiration, to make some hard shit. You know, I wanted to make hard shit. And the Raiders connection is obviously, I mean, straight out there for you to see. I'm like the only dude in Philly that wears Raiders gear, you know, and I've been wearing it for like 25, 30 years, you know, hot shit. But they always ask me, and like I said, I always loved the West Coast. Corrupt, we did a couple songs with Corrupt. LA Kid made a couple tracks, and we ended up doing some songs with Corrupt. They were never released, but I do have them. Also on that same song, One in the Chamber, that joint is produced by Thorough 215. He made the whole complete beat. I just laced it with scratches. The opening line, it says, "Will leave the gun in West Philly without the Fresh Prince." That's OT the Real's voice. You know, that was directed at whoever you may think that I directed it at. But I get a charge out of the scratches, you know, making them say something, making the music talk, giving it a charge up with somebody else's really vicious line and incorporate it into a whole beat and kind of make that the hook. So the whole album is kind of like that. You know, some scratches, a repeating hook of me cutting something that you probably heard before on a classic record, and some banging beats that's going to bring it more up to the speed of 2020. You know, so this is like a time capsule album. You know, some of the beats are old, but they're revamped and they're new and they're digitized. And the best thing about it is when we did the edits and the mix with Thorough, well, he had the little Pro Tools tricks that he knew how to, you know, slow it down, make it repeat, so run stuff backwards. So he was really instrumental to me, you know, and adding yet another element to make it come up to speed for 2022.
Okay. And on Behold the Detonator, you do have a lot of movie quotes that I want to talk to you about, but I was interested on Grind Hard. Is that from Belly, the Louis Rankin?
Yeah, that was one of my favorite characters in Belly.
So why is he one of your favorite characters from Belly?
Well, he was the gangster's boy. He was fucking with DMX. You know what I mean? And even DMX was a little annoyed about him. But the best part about it was the end, the gun battle. You know what I mean? When he was just talking shit and banging in the air. The sample on Grind Hard is from a rapper in Philly named Ive Vegas, Ivevegas, and it was they're called Red Brick Syndicate. They're from projects right around the corner up in the Northeast in Philly, and it was always one of my favorite lines. You know, grind hard, never take a day off. The song is probably just as hard as the scratch, but it exemplified that beat for me. You know, when Obvious sent me that beat, the Grind Hard one John was already in my head. I had wanted to, you know, use it as a hook on something for a long time. A lot of the ideas that's on this album were ideas that I've had for 15, 20 years. I might have even written down some of these ideas while I was in jail. When I was locked up, I used to keep a little notebook. Sometimes like MCs write rhymes. Well, I would write scratches. You know, I had a headphone, so I would hear something on the radio, and I was like, damn, I could turn that into this. Or, you know, this one says this, and that one says that, answering yourself on the cut. You know, DJ Lightning Rich, DJ Cash Money, Jazzy Jeff, Tap Money, DJ Miz, Terminator X, DJ Scratch, DJ Qbert, Z-Trip. Those were like mythical figures to me, and they still are. You know, I love each and every one of those dudes. I tried to mimic a style from each and every one of them. You know, maybe it was making a song that sounded like, maybe it was doing a scratch that was like how Jeff would do. Maybe it was, you know, a number of different things, but I was able to gracefully bite as much shit as I could from these people and create my own style with all these different, you know, pieces of styles that I noticed that they had.